I want to welcome everybody. This is our March Wise Women of Color in STEM event, crafting your career plan. So this is sure to be a very helpful and informative presentation with our wonderful guest speaker, Kate Mercer, who I will more formally introduce in a little bit, but glad you're all with us. I think this will be a helpful program. My name is Amanda Latreille. I'm WISE Program Support Coordinator. I know many of you, if not all of you, know me, but welcome. I'm now going to introduce one of our wonderful CPP associates. I want to welcome Julia. She is one of our CPP associates, and she's also a student research mentor at The Source. And she came to us and said, can I talk to the group for a couple of minutes and let them know about the support and the resources at The Source? And of course, we are very happy to have her. So I'm going to pass it along to Julia, and feel free to ask Julia questions about The Source.
Thank you, Amanda. Do you think you could enable screen sharing for me?
Absolutely.
How's that?
Perfect. Perfect.
Okay. Great. I'm not super great at PowerPoint, but to practice. So hi everyone, my name is Julia, and I'm a student research mentor at The Source. Source stands for the Syracuse Office of Undergraduate Research and Creative Engagement. So I just want to do a little introduction and let you all know that this is a resource on campus, and if you want to spread the word to others, it'd be really great. We're a pretty new office to campus, and so as of 2018, so we're trying to increase our visibility. So that's kind of the reason why I'm doing this presentation. So I'm going to go over briefly what research is. I know that a lot of you probably already know, but what is research? Research is driven by curiosity and supported by evidence. Research is in conversation with existing literature, scientific data, industry best practices, creative and artistic traditions, and research participates in the creation of new knowledge. So The Source funds undergraduate research, and so who is involved in undergraduate research? You and your faculty mentor or staff research mentor. What is undergraduate research? You can design a project individually or be a part of a team. You could assist a professor or research team with their project, or you could work with a community organization, center, or institute. And we encourage you to engage in research as early as your first year in college. It could be short-term, it could be long-term, or it could continue in after your undergraduate career. And you can conduct research on campus, off campus, or virtually now, really. So, undergraduate research, it has a large scope. Why should you participate in undergraduate research? You can apply your knowledge to real world problems and issues. You can develop a strong faculty-mentor relationship. You can improve your problem-solving and creative thinking skills, explore potential career areas, develop skills you can use on the job market or in graduate school, sharpen your presentation skills, or explore a topic you find fascinating. And I really want to emphasize the last subject, because The Source allows you to pursue any subject. And so it can really be outside of your major, just a general interest. This is an opportunity for you to take advantage of. So The Source. The Source is a center for student and faculty support. We host workshops and training. We connect students to mentors. We also have the Student Research Mentor Program, which I am a student mentor. And you get presentation opportunities. So The Source is a funding agency. We have grants, and we also have funds for faculty mentors to support their researchers. And it's also an institutional resource and hub. And so we want to communicate opportunities and tell stories of creative research work, and also encourage data collection and assessment. So what we have offer at The Source, along with the honors program, is we have 2 application cycles per year in October and in February. The February deadline just passed, but we have summer research grants up to $2,800, and also academic year grants up to $5,000, sorry. And so we also have a rolling basis grant of $1,000 that you can apply to as you do your research throughout your career. And each application is reviewed and rated by 2 faculty reviewers. We also, with the recipients of the honors program, you can complete your honors thesis and present your work at the honors thesis presentation day. And with the Source grant recipients, you submit monthly progress reports to Source and to your faculty mentor. You can work with a student mentor like myself. participate in workshops, and also present at the symposium that we hold at the end of the year, academic year, and also at the end of the summer. So our office is in Byrd Library in room 238. We're currently remote, but you can also make an appointment with us to meet, and also you can kind of check out our new office. It's a great place to work, and hopefully you can work there in the future. So small tasks you can do to get started with undergraduate research is you can look up faculty in your major and read about their research bios. You can go to virtual office hours, update your LinkedIn and profile, and also your resume, meet with students doing creative work, and also meet with student research mentors. You can work with a professor to shape a reading list on topics you're interested in pursuing. You can attend research fairs, which are in October, and also the virtual symposium, which is happening this spring. And you can also sign up for the Source newsletter. So yeah, that's kind of the general presentation of the Source. You can register with us at this link. I'll share the presentation with you all so you have this. And also you can also meet other student research mentor in addition to myself. You can sign up for office hours. And these are socials. We've been really working on our YouTube channel and also our Instagram. You can reach us. We've created this logo recently to kind of capture all the different fields that we cover and we support. And we also connect with us on LinkedIn. And that's it. I'll stop share. If anyone has any questions, you can ask them now. And I can also leave my email in the chat. And you can feel free to email me and reach out if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Julia. Does anybody have any questions for Julia? I have a question.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about how you got involved? How did you become a student research mentor? And maybe you can speak just a little bit about your own research, how you got involved. That would be great.
Yeah, I got involved with the Source when I applied for a grant. I was really interested. I actually did go to my professor's office hours and asked for a reading list because I was interested in her work. My mentor is Professor Lori Brown, and she does some work in feminist architecture theories. And I recently, in my sophomore year, I declared a minor in women's and gender studies. And so there are very few people that have a major in architecture, which is my major, and then a minor in women's and gender studies. And I was interested in those intersections there. And so with the research grant, I was able to kind of pursue the middle and kind of delve deeper into that topic. And then from doing research, I worked with other student research mentors, and then I was interested in their position because I thought that there was no representation from the architecture school, and a lot of architecture students do apply for Source grants. And so I figured I'd apply, and then here I am.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, thanks so much for sharing and for coming to us and offering to speak to the group. This is great. And I hope everybody sees with that wonderful presentation what a fantastic resource the Source is to all of you. And it is very new,
Yeah.
but absolutely check it out. Julie, do you think you could share the slides with me? And that way, when I do my follow-up email, I can send them out, because I know Kate's also going to share her slides, and I can do one follow-up email. That would be great. And Julia, you're fine with folks contacting you if they have questions or want to learn more? Sounds great.
And to answer Tiffany's question in the
chat.
chat.
Yes, I just saw that as well. Yeah. Thanks, Julia.
The grants are it's the Office of Undergraduate Research, but our workshops and our resources at the Source office are open to anyone on campus. Okay. So while you can't qualify technically for the grants, you can use any of the resources that we offer.
Good question. Thank you, Tiffany. All right, great. Thank you again, Julia. If anybody has any other questions, feel free to pop them in the chat. Julia's going to be with us, and we can follow up with her later if you think of something as we go on. But I'm going to, actually, perfect timing. I'm going to admit Dr. Dawn Johnson. Let's just give her a minute to join us here. Hello, Dr. Johnson. I'm going to put you right on the spot right away. It's so funny because Julia just finished talking about the Source, And as soon as I was going to transition to the start of our presentation, you joined us. So you couldn't have picked a better time. I mean, it was perfect. So, and honestly, the participants didn't even need to know that, but I'm telling them. So this is perfect. So Dr. Johnson just joined us, as everybody can see here. And I think most of you know Dr. Johnson. She is our wonderful lead Wise Women of Color in STEM faculty advisor. And I asked her, since we were talking about the source, and Julia just did a great presentation for us, I thought it would be wonderful to have Dr. Johnson come and speak to us for a couple of minutes about LSAMP, because they also have a summer program, which is another terrific resource available. So with that, I'm going to pass it along to Dr. Johnson.
Sure. So I wear lots of STEM hats. So, yes. And I'm also involved, have been involved with LSAMP for a while. So LSAMP is the Lewis Stokes Alliance for Minority Participation. And it's a program that's funded by the National Science Foundation. And we're part of, so there's these alliances. This is more than you need to know, but just to give you a context, there are alliances all over the country. So we are part of, SU is part of the Upstate Alliance that includes the Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, or RPI, Rochester Institute of Technology, Clarkson University, the College of Engineering at Cornell University, and then Onondaga Community College and Monroe Community College. And so we all work together and have different kinds of programs. And there's lots of alliances all over the country that the whole point of it is to encourage and support both the recruitment, retention, and graduation of Black, Latinx, and Indigenous students in the STEM fields. And so one of the many things that happens in the LSAMP program on campus is a summer research program, which has been going on for a number of years. Last summer, because it was COVID, there was the summer program was a virtual experience, and apparently the students loved it. They had a great time in terms of working with faculty virtually, making their presentations virtually over Zoom. They had weekly, and they always have these are things that they're typical of the program, but Tamara Hamilton and her staff did a really good job of sort of kind of translating the experience into a virtual platform. And in fact, because it was virtual, they were able to have more students participate because the costs of housing weren't part of it. So they could actually have more students to participate, which allowed them to pay, they have more money to pay more people. And so part of what they do in the summer, in addition to the work that you do with the faculty, there's these weekly check-ins with everybody as part of the kind of cohort to kind of talk about how things are going, sharing information and so forth. And then at the end of the summer, at the end of the program, there is last year there were virtual presentations, which, because it was virtual, there were lots of people from across campus who were able to attend and participate. And so I know they've extended the deadline. It's not clear yet because we're not sure if it's gonna be an in-person or virtual. Like, I think that's still, kind of as COVID and vaccine rollout kind of moves forward. But I think if it's not an in-person experience, it will be a very strong virtual experience. And I know that students got a lot out of it. So I would encourage you. And it's, students from SU, but then they've got students from other campuses, whether in New York or, from other colleges and universities across the country. I want to say they had about 20 people last year, which is a good size for REU, summer REU. So. That's my
Wonderful.
plug.
Thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions for Dr. Johnson about LSAMP? I did pop the link to the Summer RU program and the application and everything into the chat. So if anybody wants to check that out, they can. And I will say, I did get to see some of the virtual presentations at the end of the summer of 2020. And they were wonderful. So even though it had to go virtual, these students got some really great experience. And you could just tell with the presentations that it was very valuable. And they did a great job of making the most of the situation. I could tell just from watching the presentation. So I agree. All right, well, if anybody has any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat. And thank you again very much, Dr. Johnson, for joining us. And plugging LSAMP. That's great. Another wonderful resource available on campus. So, all right. Well, without further ado, we're doing well on time, I think, Kate. So I'm going to pass things along to you. Kate Mercer is a very much a friend of our Wise Women of Color in STEM group. You may remember she was with us in the fall and moderated our industry panel session, which was terrific. And we have her back to do our session today on career planning. So she is a career exploration specialist. She works with career services. So she's going to talk about a lot of the wonderful resources available to you through that office. And again, I encourage questions. And with that, I'm going to pass it to Kate. Thank you, Kate.
Thanks, Amanda. And thank you to the Wise Women of Color in STEM for welcoming me back as well. I'm really happy to be joining everybody tonight. I want to echo what Amanda said. I don't love talking at people, so let's make this as interactive as possible. I do have a slide deck to get through, but if you do have questions along the way, whatever you're most comfortable doing, whether that's unmuting yourself or messaging the chat or messaging Amanda privately, that's fine too. This is about your career search, so it's always going to be personal. So if you have questions along the way, I'm happy to stop and assist as best as I can. So I am one of two career exploration specialists in Central Career Services. A couple years ago, career services decentralized. So every school and college, as you might know, has their own career services office. My colleague Dan and I serve as kind of general career specialists for all undergrad students, regardless of school, college, or major. We often meet with students who are either unsure of their major, they maybe came in undeclared, or they're thinking about changing their major, changing their school or college. We kind of serve as a sounding board to assist them through that process and, see how that aligns with their career goals. So with that, I will start my slideshow and hope that it works.
Kate, if you don't mind, I'm just going to say one thing while you're transitioning to your slides. I want to make sure, I know we have some graduate students with us, which is wonderful. We love having you with us. I just want to make sure they know, because your services, as you just pointed out, are focused on undergraduates. I want to make sure they know that the graduate school has a wonderful career development, professional development office. And I've personally worked with some of the folks over there, and they're terrific as well. So please know that we've got lots of services available to both our undergrad and graduates. And I'll pop the graduate school link in here in just a second.
Yeah, Tracy and Dan at the graduate school are great.
Absolutely.
Are you seeing the slide and next slide?
Yes.
Again, okay.
It wants to do that, Kate. Perfect. It's perfect now.
All right. So I will be I've got two screens, so I'll kind of be looking in the wrong direction, but I'll be talking to everybody in the room. Okay. So here are some of the steps that we're going to go through tonight to kind of serve as keys to perfecting your job or internship search. Keeping your resume or CV up to date, using LinkedIn and Handshake as sort of your main tools to search for job opportunities, staying active outside of those platforms through events and fairs, which have largely turned virtual at this point. And then continuing to grow your skills, always continue learning and making sure that you are meeting the technical and the soft skills that your potential employers are going to be looking for in candidates. Okay, so I would recommend starting off by creating what we call a master resume. In this case, there is no, page boundary. There's, don't worry about, fitting everything onto one page. Nothing is off the table. And by creating a master resume, this will serve as sort of a living document for you to see where you're at. Okay. So when you're looking through potential job opportunities, you can kind of run that against your master resume and say, how can I match up the skills and experiences that I have with the types of skills and responsibilities that an employer is looking for. So nothing is off the table. Consider part-time work, internships, volunteer experiences, any type of campus involvement that you have, research, either independent or academic projects that you've worked on, technical skills, which would be related to any kind of software skills that you're familiar with, any coding or programming skills, any foreign languages that you speak, any social media skills. All of those are great to include on a resume. And then relevant coursework as well. So again, nothing's off the table here. Ideally, you'll have your 2 to 3 page version of your master resume, and then you'll be able to sort of create what I call a Franken resume that will sort of put your best one-page foot forward for each individual position that you're applying to. Okay, and then these are just some kind of basic run through of ways to make your bullet points effective. So you'll always start with an action verb, a task, and then wherever possible, you want to round off your bullet points with either a how statement, a why statement, or a results. So not only are you just, collaborating with club members, like what was the purpose of doing that? What did you get out of it? What was the result of that? And how did you do it? So always thinking through your bullet points as if they're like mini stories, so that you're able to sort of effectively sell your achievements and accomplishments to potential employers. And wherever possible, you do want to use numbers to quantify your impact. It sort of gives some more credence to the work that you put in. I know it's difficult for a lot of people to not want to come across as like bragging or overly confident about their achievements, but the resume is not the time to be humble about what it is that you're bringing to the table, as uncomfortable as that might seem. So, don't be shy or feel anxious about coming across in some kind of negative way. You want to be assertive about what you have contributed to your work experiences. And then once you are ready to go with your resume, in addition to having faculty advisors and career services and maybe your parents look at your resume, be sure to run it through VMOC, which is our new resume AI software that is honestly really fantastic. You can upload your resume, and within a minute or two, it will give you a detailed score between 0 and 100 with very actionable feedback as to how to improve it. From everything from formatting to grammar to the content itself. Is it packing a punch? It'll let you know if you're using the same verb too many times. It'll ask you to cut out filler words. So it's a really unique tool, and it's something that you have free access to as a Syracuse student. And this is something that you can find through your Handshake page, and then you will be able to log in using your Syracuse credentials. So this is just an example score of a resume through VMOC. Again, it's very detailed. And then you would be able to click on each of these points here, and it'll highlight the areas that it wants you to fix and give you suggestions as well. Okay, so once your resume is up to date, make sure that you're also keeping your Handshake profile up to date. For starters, the first time you log on to Handshake, it'll ask you all sorts of questions about what type of work you're looking for. And if you're like me, you don't want to log into Handshake for the first time and answer a bunch of questions. You want to figure out what it does. So you might have logged in for the first time and kind of skipped over that part. You're able to go back in though through your profile section and go back through and answer some of those questions that it asks. And I would recommend taking the time to do that because it'll make it easier for you to find positions that are suit your needs. So we have, I don't know, probably 10,000-ish given positions listed at any given time. And so you might be logging in, looking at the job section and seeing all kinds of irrelevant job postings. However, if you're able to take the time to let Handshake know where you want to be geographically, what are some sample job titles you're looking for, what are some skills you want to work on, it'll help you in the long run by having all of this filled out and ready to go. In addition, you can also fill out your Handshake profile for employers to see. So employers can actually click on your profile and see what types of experiences and skills you have. So the more sort of inviting your profile is, the more likely it is that you can get attention from recruiters who are looking to hire. So this is kind of a nice kind of set it and forget it way to attract attention from employers. So having a photo, having a bio that you write about yourself, introducing yourself to visitors to your Handshake page, adding all of the work experiences that you've had, paid or unpaid, adding your involvement on campus or classes that you've taken or skills that you have. All of these are, really effective ways to showcase what skills you're bringing to the table for recruiters. Then once your profile is set up, go back through and start using the jobs tab. The Handshake AI kind of works like Netflix. The more regularly you use it, the better it understands what you like. And so making searching for jobs on Handshake part of your routine will sort of be better for you in the long run because you will have it'll have a sense of what it is you're looking for. And as new jobs get approved, Handshake will send out automated emails to you saying like, hey, this checks a lot of the boxes that you're looking for. Why don't you apply? So make Handshake work for you by taking the time in the beginning to set up what types of jobs you're looking for, and then, favoriting employers and saving positions because those will help to improve the AI's understanding of your searching needs.
Kate, can I just ask a quick question again? I want to be just sensitive to the fact that we have some graduate students with us.
Yeah.
My understanding is the graduate school does use Handshake as well. Is that
That's true?
Okay?
Yep. Yeah. So the jobs tab includes internships, volunteer experiences, full-time jobs. And we do every single job that gets posted on Handshake has to get approved by somebody in career services. And so we're making sure that, first of all, that we're not approving like scam postings, which rarely happens, but can. But most importantly, approving jobs that, Syracuse students and graduate students would be, able, like that we would meet the needs for. So for example, like we don't approve nursing positions because Syracuse doesn't have a nursing school anymore. So we try to make the job postings as relevant as possible for all of our students. And we have positions for alumni as well.
Great, thank you.
Sure. Okay, so if you don't have one already, I'm going to make a strong pitch that you create a LinkedIn profile. This data comes straight from LinkedIn and it's a couple years old. So I'm guessing that if not 100%, 99% of Fortune 500 companies use LinkedIn for recruiting and sourcing talent. But, at this point, pretty much every company / organization has an active LinkedIn page. So, if I can't make the pitch for you to use LinkedIn for the networking, job searching aspect of it. Hopefully, we can talk a little bit about the ways that you can use your profile as sort of a separate landing page for all of your achievements and accomplishments and your skills. So this will be sort of like your set it and forget it for your handshake. Setting up your profile for success on LinkedIn is another way to sort of let recruiters and employers and potential networking contacts see your skills, see your value just by having it already saved and ready to go. When recruiters use LinkedIn to search for talent, the top two features that the algorithm pulls from when they're searching for keywords are the headline section, which is right here, and the about or summary section. So these are the two areas where you will want to include keywords that you're seeing in job searches. So this could be, a skill, for example, that is meaningful for your field, or it could be something, I don't know, data related. That's something that is not, universal. It's something that would be very specific to your field, your industry, and the types of jobs that you're seeing, right? So making sure that your about section kind of serves as an introduction to yourself is important. So one way that I like to think about the about section is sort of like your written elevator pitch or introduction to yourself, which I have here. So a good formula for an elevator pitch is present, past, future. So starting off by introducing who you are, what's your class year, what are you studying, any current on-campus organization involvement or activity involvement, maybe a class that you're taking right now or a research lab that you're a part of. That's all, ongoing. Then follow that up by things that you've done. So again, relevant classwork, relevant part-time jobs, research experience, volunteer experience, any of that that kind of adds to your story. And this part, again, it should be relevant to the focusing forward on what it is that you're looking for. So maybe the fact that you were all-state trombone player in high school might have meant a lot to you, but maybe isn't as important to future employers. And then ending with future. Where are you going? What are some of your professional curiosities? Where do you think you could add value to a company? What skills are you hoping to use or expand on in the future? And this section can be as sort of vague or specific as where you're at right now in terms of what your 5-year or 10-year plan is. Right now, it might be sort of kind of, I'm not really sure what I want to do, but I know that I want to work with data in a lab, or I know that I'm interested in, the intersection of X and Y. So that's something that you can write down, because that will help potential employers or potential networking contacts see what it is that you're interested in, and then hopefully help make connections for you. A mistake that I see a lot of students make is feeling so desperate for any type of work that they aren't able to articulate any skill or interest or they're not able to say anything about what it is that they want to do. And that just makes it harder for potential networking contacts to be of assistance, right? So try to, take some time for yourself to think about where you could see yourself. What are some of your professional values? What are some of your interests? Where do you feel like you can make a difference? A lot of the Gen Z students that I meet with honestly say that they struggle to use LinkedIn as a platform. It might not be as user-friendly as some other social media sites. It might be, just kind of uncomfortable to use. So a lot of the students that I meet with say, somebody in high school made me make a LinkedIn profile, but I haven't really used it since then. I would say use this knowledge to your advantage, because a lot of college students are uncomfortable using LinkedIn. There are fewer people in the game, so you have a higher chance of hearing back from people that you're reaching out to, and getting feedback. So in addition to making sure that your about section and your headline section are looking good, add value to your LinkedIn profile in other ways. LinkedIn also recognizes activity as a source to bump you up higher in the algorithm results. So in addition to just liking other people's posts, commenting on posts, sharing posts, writing articles, any type of active engagement on LinkedIn will continue to help your sort of engagement score with the algorithm. So this could be sharing things to people in your network, sending direct messages to people, things like that. So mostly before this, I was talking about ways to use your LinkedIn, passively to get attention by setting up your profile, by following companies and organizations of interest, and mostly just making sure that your profile is up to date. So this is more like the active side of LinkedIn. So using ideally the alumni network to learn and to get advice about what it is you're interested in. Studies show that up to 75% of jobs are never even posted. They don't make it to job boards. And that's called the hidden job market. So the name of the game right now is, unfortunately, for better or for worse, networking. So networking does not have to mean, rubbing elbows with people at, fancy dinners. It can be a lot more chill than that. Asking people for advice, getting information on certain industry trends, and learning about people's experiences as a Syracuse student are just some ways that you can make a connection with somebody that'll hopefully wind up with a job opportunity. So how does this look like? So once you have, So Syracuse University alumni are the folks that you're going to want to reach out to, simply because they're people that you already have a connection with by virtue of being, at the same university. Before this position, I used to work in fundraising for Syracuse. So I can say that we had, like, basically everybody that I met with in my job said that they wouldn't be where they are today if it hadn't been for an alum ahead of them, helping them get their foot in the door. So Syracuse alumni are eager to be of assistance, to offer advice, and to help out where they can. So this is the place where you want to start. So once you go to the Syracuse University page on LinkedIn, we have over 160,000 alumni who are active on LinkedIn. And once you click on the alumni tab here, you can filter the alumni by any number of things. So you can search by keyword, you can search by when they graduated, you can search by geography, company, what they studied at Syracuse, what industry they work in. And then once you've filtered that down, you can see all of the results below. Essentially, anybody whose profile you can hit connect on, you should feel free to reach out to and introduce yourself. Some people have, really strict privacy settings so that if you're not, within a certain degree of connection, they don't want you to be able to see their profile. Those people aren't on LinkedIn for networking, but anybody else, feel free to send them a connection request and introduce yourself. So, if you're looking for, let's say, a research associate position at a like pharmacy or pharmaceutical company, and you do that search on through the alumni database and find a number of people who have similar titles, you can reach out to them. And when you hit connect, LinkedIn will stop you and say, do you want to add a message to your invitation? And from there, I think you'll have about 300 characters to, say who you are and give them a little bit of a background for why you're reaching out. I would start with, a simple question. How do you like working at X company? What is the best part about working at this company? What are some of the challenges of working at this company? But one simple question is not asking a lot of a stranger's time to get back to you. And then from there, ideally, this person will get back to you and you can continue to have a conversation either over LinkedIn Messenger, or if you're comfortable, asking them if they have 10 or 15 minutes to do a Zoom call. Again, the purpose of this is to get advice from them, but ultimately to make a good impression and to get a sense of, what types of jobs are out there. And then after the phone call, you'll send a thank you note and keep up to date with them, by either sending an article, sending a photo of campus, basically letting them know that you're appreciative of their advice and that you're still able to, keep in touch. So in addition to reaching out to people, individuals on LinkedIn, I definitely recommend joining Syracuse groups that you connect with. So when you type in Syracuse University on the search bar on LinkedIn and then click on groups, we have over 300 results that come up that are either university or alumni based. So I would certainly recommend joining the alumni network, whether you're still a student or not. Anybody is free to join the alumni network. Also, I recommend Q's Connect. This is a database that's run by the Office of Alumni Engagement. We have a lot of alumni who participate in here by sharing job openings at their companies. And then the schools and colleges, regional areas, different affinity groups, all have groups on LinkedIn as well. And this is a more, I would say, casual way of getting to know people and learning about opportunities that might not feel as daunting as reaching out to an individual. Okay, so in addition to using LinkedIn and Handshake, I definitely recommend using or taking advantage of events and fairs to learn about opportunities. So from the Handshake homepage, if you click on events, we have all kinds of events happening, both run by different career services offices on campus, but as well as national companies and organizations. They host regular either meet and greet sessions or question and answer sessions. And again, this is another way to get a recruiter's name and to get information on hiring cycles and things like that. We also have Career Week coming up at Syracuse. So we have a number of career fairs. The All Major Career Fair is on March 25th, I believe, in 2 weeks. And this will be a virtual fair, of course, and we're actually kind of excited about this because we were able to attract some employers who normally would not be able to make it to Central New York in March. So we've got some more some employers from across the country who are able to make it. So we're excited about that. In addition, I would recommend joining various alumni clubs. So this is the website qscommunity.syr.edu. So if you click on attend an event, you can see upcoming virtual events. But the screen grab doesn't cover everything. The link next to this is for join a club. And from there you can see all of our regional clubs from across the country, and we have international clubs as well. And when you get to that page, you'll see the name and sometimes the contact information for club leaders. And I would definitely recommend reaching out to these folks on LinkedIn. Regardless of what field they work in, these people are tasked, it's their responsibility really, as club leaders to be connectors and to bring people together. So by reaching out with them, they're going to be a friendly face and a welcoming connection to whatever city or country that you want to be in. And ideally, they'll know of people to put you in touch with because they've hosted events before, and they know some of the other leaders in the community as well. And again, you do not have to be an alum to participate. Okay, and then I just want to talk about some other resources that you can access through Handshake that are free as a Syracuse student. Okay, so LinkedIn Learning I want to start with. This is something that you have through Syracuse. This is a way for you to grow your skill sets for free. There are video training sessions for any type of skill that you're looking for. So if you want to become more organized or practice for an interview, for example, there are video tutorials for that. If you want to learn Python, if you want to learn Adobe Photoshop, there are courses for that as well. So once you take these free or watch these free videos, you will receive a certificate from LinkedIn that you can add to your profile. And then you can also, where applicable, add these certificates to your resume as a way to build skills for the types of positions that you're looking for. So this is, an important skill or important tool to use, especially if you're thinking about an opportunity that, your coursework at Syracuse, might not offer. LinkedIn Learning can be a valuable tool for that. And then Big Interview. So this is a way to kind of keep your interview skills fresh. So the best time to practice your interviewing skills is before a job or an internship is on the line. So when it can be a little bit more fun and relaxed and not as heavy as, I have an interview at the end of the week and I don't know how to answer, tell me about yourself. So Big Interview is a free resource. Again, you can log in with your SYR credentials. Through Big Interview, you can read written curriculum on everything like interviewing A to Z. It talks through strategizing on your answers. It talks through the psychology of questions, why an employer would ask a certain question, what are they trying to get from you, so that you can kind of tackle answering it the right way. You can also practice recording yourself answering questions, and you can go back through and look and see, am I speaking too quickly? Do I have any verbal tics? How's my eye contact? For some people, this could be really helpful, but you know yourself better than anybody else. If this were me, I think it would freak me out even more to look back at myself interviewing or answering certain questions. I don't know that it would be the most useful, but maybe it would be helpful for you. We're beta testing with Big Interview right now for basically that same thing. So it'll tell you if you're saying like or too much in your responses. So again, yourself, that might be something that's helpful for you and it might not be. And then the last resource that you can access through Handshake is called Vault. This is a resource that you can use to look up companies and read candid reviews from previous interns at these companies. So in order for companies to have access to a Vault profile, they need to have a certain percentage of current and former employees give anonymous feedback about their experience at that company. So we know that it's legit because there is a high percentage of people, who have been verified to have worked there. So for the internship piece of it, you can actually see potential interview questions that you might be asked. You can see, the good, the bad, and the ugly of being an intern there. Is it something that's worthwhile for you, or is it, a coffee run type of internship? So Vault is something that is not really well advertised, but it's a really good resource. And then here's some additional resources, again, just to make sure that you're sort of up to date. So mlt.org is a leadership program for students from underrepresented backgrounds. I would recommend using ONET Online to find your industry of choice. And then at the bottom, it'll tell you some professional organizations that you can join that are related to that field. Ideally, you'll want to join, ones that will provide you with some training, as well as, skills that you'll need to perfect for the internship or job opportunities. And then lastly, a plug for us, use your career services office. So whether that's your home office or central or the graduate office, take advantage of career services. We're here to help you, and your faculty advisors as well. So that is that. I tried to get through this so that we would have some time for Q&A. And I will stop sharing now. And I'll share this presentation with Amanda as well, so that you can have access to it too.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would love to hear any questions from the group here. Any questions for Kate or Julia or Dr. Johnson?
Hi.
Hi, Chloe.
I have a question about the format of your resume. So I never know where to put like my technical projects that I've done in the past. So what's just like the order of how everything should be?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the rule of thumb with resumes is that employers will look at them for 6 to 10 seconds, which is not a lot of time. So with that in mind, you want the most important information that you want them to see closest to the top of the page. So there is no, magic answer for where that information should go. It should always depend on the job description. We like to say that there's no such thing as a good generic resume. But if you're looking at job opportunities that really value experience with technical projects, then that should be closest, pretty close to the top of your resume. As a student, I would say your education section should 100% go first, because working toward a degree right now is going to be the most, sellable piece about your experience and background. Somewhere down the line, you'll probably, your experience will outweigh your education, and naturally that section will move further down on your resume. So for now, lead with education. And then from there, just kind of let the job description dictate what order your resume should go in. But I will add a quick caveat that you also want your experiences in reverse chronological order. So anything that's ongoing should be first, followed by most recent end date. But you don't have to have just general experience headings. You can sort of craft, specific headings, technical projects, for example, where, if it's not ongoing, you can still have that project, at the top of your resume. Does that make sense? I'm just kind of like rambling at this, but.
Also, is it necessary to have like an objective on the top of your resume, or is that not like needed?
That's another great question. So I think if you asked 10 career advisors what they said on this, you'd get 10 different answers. Personally, I don't love an objective or summary statement for especially for undergrad students, because your resume should, you should stick to a page. And since you only have that one page, I feel like you should dedicate it mostly to bullet points outlining your achievements and experiences. You know, an objective statement, if you're applying to a job, your objective is to get the job, right? And a summary statement, if you're an undergrad student or even a graduate student straight out from undergrad, you're not a mid-career, professional with 30 years of experience to summarize. So, it depends on where you're at in your career. It depends on where you're at in your education. But if you're an undergrad student, I would say you don't need to have an objective or a summary statement.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
And can I also contact you if I needed?
Of course,
like
yes.
Great questions. Thank you. Does anybody else have any questions? Kate, I have a question, and again, I want others to chime in or use the chat, so I don't need to keep talking, but I do have a couple questions, and there is one thing I want to point out as well before we go. So we have central career services, and then we have career services in at every school. How do you know which one to go to? What advice can you give along those lines for our participants today?
That's a good question. So it depends on what you're looking for or when you're looking for it. So a lot of students, for some schools and colleges, the process for getting an appointment can be a little bit trickier. I know that some of my colleagues will require like attending a workshop or, answering a number of questions before being able to schedule an appointment. So if, you need a cover letter read today, that might impact whether you use Central or your home career office. But when it comes to, more specific, industry related, or, I'm thinking specifically about engineering and computer science students or iSchool students. If I'm looking over your resume, I'm just going to trust that all of the jargon that you're using is right, because, that's not my area of expertise. So again, it kind of just depends on your needs and what you're looking for and how quickly. Does that help?
Yes, I think so. Absolutely. Thank you for clarifying that.
Sure.
We do have some questions coming up in the chat, which is terrific. So I don't know if you want to just pop those up, Kate.
Yeah, let's see. Do students need to include their GPA on their resume? Great question. So this one is up to you. Our rule of thumb is if it's over a 3.0 and you want to, you can, but there's, you don't have to. Some students will include academic honors like Dean's List as well on their resume. But there's certainly more to, your story and your experience than just your GPA. So short answer is it's up to you. For the education section of the resume, I've heard different things about if your high school should be listed. Great. So again, we have a rule of thumb. We would say by junior year, your high school experience should come off of your resume. But in going back to the master resume, leave it on that version, because you never know when you're applying to something, you're doing your research and you find somebody on the hiring committee went to the same high school as you or is from the same hometown as you. This is an opportunity to build another connection with somebody who, might want to meet another person who, went to the same high school or like knows the mascot. So, again, you have this valuable limited real estate on your resume. So it's up to you depending on what you're applying to, but I would say by your junior year, just because by nature of, research opportunities and internship opportunities and campus involvement, it probably just won't fit on the one-page version.
Great, thank you. Any other questions? I'm going to just share something quickly because I would love Kate's thoughts on it. And this document doesn't apply to all of you. It applies to our CPP associates, but a career plan. Let me just move some of these items here. Can everybody, oh no, nobody can see it yet. Hold on. Okay, can everybody see this document?
Yes.
Okay, so some of you have seen this before, hopefully. This, again, this is for our CPP associates, and this is our portfolio content and instructions. And Kate, I just wanted to get your thoughts. We had Melissa Welshans in January do a session for us on personal statements. So we already have that. But I really, you talked about the resume today, which is terrific. We've got LinkedIn Learning on here. But I would love your thoughts quickly as we conclude here. We do ask the students in the program, and really it's a great idea for all students to create a career plan, an actual document or a map for their professional future with goals and specific actionable steps that they can take. And I did reference here you have a class year, so kind of a step-by-step which you should be thinking about from your freshman to your senior year, and I do have that listed here as a resource. I just wondered if you could speak to this at all in terms of developing a career plan. Do you have any thoughts or tips for students as they're thinking about developing this document?
Yeah, definitely. So, I would say, as you just mentioned, Amanda, keeping up to date with your understanding of yourself and your goals, and then trying to translate that into your professional life. So think about your previous work experiences and kind of dissect each one. What made you happy to go to work each day? What could you leave behind in your next experience? And this could be as simple as like, I enjoyed being able to work with people, or I enjoyed solving problems, or I enjoyed, having a regular, 9-to-5 work day. Or I enjoyed the irregularity of my hours, or things like that. So keep track of all of that so that as you progress through your time at Syracuse, when you're asking people for advice, you can kind of see, is their current job checking the boxes that I am looking for my future? And whatever you learn is good for you, right? Like if you are really set on a certain career path and you talk to somebody and it turns out that their job is nothing like what you envisioned it to be, you've learned something. Like now you have an opportunity to pivot and learn about something else that might be similar to that. Always keep a, hello. Always
Sorry.
people help you. So whether that's your faculty advisors, whether that's career services, whether that's people in your family, the more people on your side, the better when it comes to figuring out what it is that you want to do. So, stay active on Handshake, attend events, keep adding to your skill set, and don't be afraid to ask questions.
Great. Well, Kate, I can't thank you enough. I really appreciate it. You gave us a lot of information today. We're gonna capture this recording, the slides, the resources that were discussed today, and get them out to all of you in an email. That's probably going to take us a couple days, but we will do that as soon as we can. I personally, we've done some events related to these topics, but one of the big things I took away was the alumni network today. That and how you actually, I really appreciate those kind of step-by-step tips for how you actually can engage with alumni and where to find them and what's appropriate, and to know it's okay to do that, and it's a really effective thing to do as you plan your career. So I found that particularly interesting and helpful, as well as all the other tips too. So I really appreciate it. With that, I'm going to remind folks that we have an evaluation. We so appreciate your feedback. We read them, we use them to inform future programming. So please take a moment to complete that. Any other thoughts anybody has before we conclude today? Have a wonderful evening. Thank you again.